Agradecer também ao nosso programa de pós-graduação em Ciências Sociais, que tem uma área de relações Brasil-China, que também dá um suporte importante para o nosso colóquio, certo? Ao Instituto IDEA, que também financia algumas passagens do evento, né? Ao Instituto CPFL, que dessa vez também deu um bom suporte, um suporte importante para a realização do evento, à Fundação Fausto Castilho e aos organizadores do evento, principalmente os alunos do nosso doutorado na área de China, né, que trabalharam duramente e estão trabalhando ainda, né? Ricardo, Tauan, o Plínio, que não é aluno de doutorado, é professor, mas já foi aluno também no nosso doutorado, que é o nosso tradutor. O Plínio vai traduzir as atividades do dia, aliás, do evento todo, né? Então, agradeço a todos, certo? E, rapidamente, para encerrar a minha parte aqui de apresentação, certo? Eu quero falar rapidamente sobre o tema, que é filosofia chinesa no século XXI, porque esse tema. Em primeiro lugar, porque nós comemoramos os 50 anos das relações Brasil-China. Mas o tema filosofia chinesa no século XXI é um tema muito especial para mim, pessoalmente, e para os meus alunos, certo? Porque nós estamos lendo, nesse momento, alguns autores importantes, aliás, alguns autores que eu considero como sendo os autores mais importantes da filosofia chinesa no século XXI, certo? E eu considero os mais importantes, assim, mais por minha afinidade e também por compreender que a filosofia chinesa no século XXI está entrando num momento muito particular, muito especial, certo? Então, eu quero mencionar nominalmente esses autores, certo? O primeiro desses autores que eu destaco é o professor Zhao Tingyang, que está em Beijing nesse momento e vai participar da mesa aqui com a gente. Vai fazer a fala dele logo na sequência. Ele não conseguiu vir pessoalmente ao nosso evento, certo? Mas vai fazer a fala online. Então, eu considero o professor Zhao Tingyang um dos mais importantes vivos nesse momento, né? Outra pessoa que eu considero particularmente muito importante, entende? É a professora Rob Wang, que está aqui na frente, entende? Eu coloco nesse grupo dos professores importantes do século XXI, dos pesquisadores importantes do século XXI. Certo? Outra pessoa que eu descobri recentemente, né, que está, certo, assim, fechando, de certa forma, um conjunto de compreensão da filosofia do chinês do século XXI, é a professora Su Shen, certo? Que estou lendo com muito interesse os textos dela e acho que acaba completando aí um conjunto de teorias muito interessantes. Tem um quarto pesquisador, tem um quarto professor chinês, entende? Que, na verdade, é de Hong Kong, então, assim, ele é de Hong Kong, mas é chinês, que é o Yu Hui, certo? Que trabalha numa perspectiva diferente, de tecnologia Heidegger e técnica, mas eu acho que esses quatro pensadores, a meu ver, nesse momento, formam um excelente conjunto para a compreensão da filosofia chinesa no século XXI. Certo? E o nosso plano, o nosso projeto é traduzir os textos, os livros mais importantes desses pensadores no futuro próximo, né? Já está certo com o Tingyang, com o Zhao Tingyang, a tradução do principal livro dele, que é Tudo sobre o Céu, certo? Um livro fundamental, sobre o qual ele vai falar hoje também, certo? Eu acertei já também com o Yu Hui, a tradução do principal livro dele, a meu ver, eu considero o principal, que é Questões Concernentes à Tecnologia na China hoje, certo? E temos em andamento aí a tradução do livro Yin Yang, da Robin, certo? Que fica pronto amanhã. Amanhã a gente tem o livro aqui no nosso colóquio, o livro Yin Yang, certo? E, claro, o meu próximo passo é conversar com a professora Su Shen sobre a possibilidade da tradução do livro dela para o português também, certo? Eu acho que, né, se tivermos esse conjunto de obras aí em breve traduzidas para o português, os leitores brasileiros terão acesso, a meu ver, a um conjunto de poucas obras, mas fundamentais para a gente entender questões básicas da história da China, da política da China e outras coisas mais. Não quero desconsiderar outros. Não li nada da Dimitra, que está aqui ainda. Tem outros professores em Macau. Eu sei que tem importantes pesquisadores chineses trabalhando. Eu fiz um recorte, que é um recorte mais de interesse de pesquisa da minha parte. Certo? Tenho certeza que breve vou descobrir outros autores tão importantes quanto esses e estou aberto, entende? Mas considero esses 4 autores como sendo autores importantíssimos para a gente entender a filosofia chinesa no século XXI. Era isso. Obrigado. Era isso. Passa a palavra agora para o professor Célio Iratuca, que vai dar as boas-vindas em nome do Brasil-China e da Unicamp, e depois para a professora Ítala.
Bom dia a todos e todas. Vou tentar ser bem breve na minha fala, compensar um pouco dos problemas técnicos, encurtando aqui a minha saudação, na verdade, a todos os presentes, todas e todos os presentes. Falar da minha satisfação de estar aqui presente nesse 10º encontro, né? A partir aí do esforço enorme do Florentino e do conjunto de pessoas que se envolveram aí na organização desse colóquio, que é fundamental sobre várias perspectivas, né? Acho que a primeira delas é do ponto de vista do Grupo Brasil-China, né, que tenta justamente promover uma compreensão ampla da China. Esse esforço, com certeza, é fundamental, né? Em especial, numa quadra, né, no cenário global, né, onde a gente vai transitando de um cenário que era um cenário, digamos assim, unipolar, né, onde havia uma certa promessa de uma certa convergência do ponto de vista cultural, do ponto de vista econômico, né, entre os países, dentro dos países, e que, obviamente, não se concretizou, né? Mais do que isso, a promessa de que essa convergência nos levaria a uma certa paz, né, global. Obviamente que isso está colocado em xeque, não é? E nesse contexto, né, espaço para países do sul global tem que ser repensados, não é? Não apenas do ponto de vista econômico ou geopolítico, né, mas ser repensado do ponto de vista, digamos assim, de um diálogo que possa ser estabelecido, né, intercultural, intercivilizacional. Então, acho que esse esforço do Florentino resulta um pouco, né, nessa possibilidade de repensar esse conjunto de fundamentos de maneira muito ampla, né, nós aqui do Brasil, né, tentando entender os elementos fundamentais do pensamento chinês e da filosofia chinesa, né? Mas, para além disso, né, quer dizer, queria também estabelecer a importância desse colóquio para os nossos, digamos assim, para as novas gerações que estão tentando compreender a China, né? Eu sempre costumo dizer que a compreensão da China exige um certo desprendimento, né? Um desprendimento de nossas ideias, às vezes preconcebidas, né? Muito fundadas numa certa lógica muito ocidentalizada, mas não é só isso, né? Quer dizer, precisamos estar abertos desprendimento de tempo, né? O André Bueno está aqui, conversava com ele antes, dizendo como entender um país complexo como a China e a sua influência no mundo exige muita paciência e muito esforço, que não é, enfim, de uma hora para outra que vai se construir. Mas, enfim, os nossos estudantes precisam, né, insistir nessa tarefa, né? E, finalmente, o desprendimento que muitas vezes nós temos com aspectos muito disciplinares. Nos apegamos muitas vezes e não queremos fazer o diálogo, né, dentro da economia, né, com outras áreas das ciências humanas ou com outras áreas das ciências, né, ou da antropologia, ou da filosofia, enfim, né? Então, exige esse desprendimento, né, de um diálogo que seja realmente transdisciplinar, né? Então, como esse colóquio ele promove tudo isso, né, eu parabenizo de novo o Florentino, sua equipe, né, acho que é fundamental a gente manter esse esforço. Infelizmente, preferia quando eu era só coordenador do Grupo Brasil-China, que eu tinha mais tempo para acompanhar a discussão. Hoje eu tenho que dividir isso com a direção do Estudo de Economia, então não vou poder estar presente aqui o tempo todo, né, mas desejo de novo a todos um excelente um excelente colóquio, um excelente trabalho ao longo aí dos próximos dias. Muito obrigado.
Então, bom dia a todas e todos. Eu quero, em nome do Centro de Lógica, Epistemologia e História da Ciência, dar as boas-vindas aos participantes deste 10º encontro Brasil-China sobre filosofia chinesa no século XXI. Eu quero saudar e dar as boas-vindas, em especial, aos nossos convidados, aos palestrantes, aos convidados estrangeiros, aos convidados chineses. Quero cumprimentar o professor Florentino pela organização do evento, pelo trabalho. Eu ouvi ontem a tarde toda aqui, trabalhando para que não houvesse problemas técnicos hoje quanto à parte tecnológica aqui do evento. E aqui, como minha área de trabalho é lógica, eu tenho trabalhado bastante, inclusive com pesquisadores e professores chineses, em especial, tenho amizade com vários chineses. O que eu quero desejar a esse evento, que eu tenho certeza que será muito profícuo, eu quero desejar que ele seja muito motivador, instigante, que ele possa contribuir fundamentalmente para as relações culturais, civilizacionais entre Brasil e China. E eu quero ser muito breve, eu queria dizer umas palavras muito simples e dedicar nosso trabalho, nossos melhores pensamentos pela paz no Oriente Médio. Quero dedicar nossos trabalhos para os nossos irmãos palestinos que estão sofrendo um inominável genocídio, e espero que o nosso trabalho, que o nosso evento possa contribuir para a paz entre os seres humanos e para o desenvolvimento mais harmônico entre nós de todas as partes do mundo. Então, que o nosso evento possa contribuir para isso. Muito obrigada.
Obrigado, Sérgio. Bom, agora nós vamos realmente dar início aos trabalhos, né? E o plano inicial era que o Zhao Tingyang fizesse uma conferência, mas como ele se propôs a dedicar um tempo maior ao nosso colóquio, nós resolvemos começar o evento com uma mesa redonda, composta pelo Zhao Tingyang, certo? Pela Zhu Shen e pela Robin, certo? Então, a ideia que eu já combinei com o Zhao é simples, certo? Ele faz uma exposição de 30 minutos de um tema, que é um tema referente ao livro dele, ao principal livro dele, tudo sobre o céu, certo? E, na verdade, não só sobre o livro, mas a partir de algumas críticas que foram feitas ao livro. E depois a professora Zhu Shen faz um comentário de 10 minutos, mais ou menos. O professor Zhao responde, depois Robin faz os seus comentários, o professor Zhao responde, e no final abrimos para uma conversa com o público. Certo? Temos um bom tempo para esse início, certo? E pensei nesse formato porque eu acho que é uma boa forma de a gente dar um pontapé inicial a esse nosso evento. Então, eu chamo para vir para a mesa a Robin e a professora Zhu Shen. Hello?
Hello?
Professor Zhao, you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes
Well, thank you. Thank you. You mean I will speak now?
Yes.
Yes, you are going to speak
Okay,
for.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Abaixa pouco.
Yeah, do you hear me? It's okay?
Yes, we do. We do.
It's okay.
Okay, good. It's my pleasure to join you in this very interesting conference. It's quite magic.
É meu prazer.
We are communicating across half of Earth, and I don't speak Portuguese. Sorry, I have to speak the strand English. You agree English is strength, don't you? My topic is about the imagination of a possible world as a conutopia. 天下, a Chinese word. 天下is a concept of perpetual peace, or a theory of best possible world, which is supposed.
Então, isso possivelmente travou.
Quite often, I have been asked if Tianxia, a Chinese imperialist project to rule the world, it is an unreasonable and expired worry, since imperialism is bound to decline, and the world will see little chance for imperialism. We do still suffer from the sequela of the Western imperialism. But if a topic for imperialism is to be a returning question, a kind of boomerang to Europe or to USA. As I repeated in my book, Tianxia theory aims to put an end to the imperialist thinking. And it is a theory of making a world for the world, nothing to do with the China plan. I'm afraid China will not be the best benefited if a future Tianxia come true. Theoretically speaking, in a world system of perpetual peace, the less advanced countries would be better benefited. Obviously, peace makes the better situation for less powerful nations. It is sure Tianxia relates to a Chinese concept, yet also links to European theory as well, especially to Leibniz's concept of the best possible world. I take Tianxia as an experimental methodology of seeing the world as an entity from its outside, as a stranger, in a fabricated perspective of an alien anthropologist from another planet. The alien anthropologist whom I pretend to be would confine the studies on human civilization to the ontological analysis on the human conditions, free from ethical claims or ideologies which are irrelevant to the ontological telos of a being itself. So much so that to be good means nothing more than to be. A simple example. It is evident that peace is ontologically better than war, simply because the peace implies the greater chances for all beings to flourish, whereas war the risk to perish. It is a matter of to be or not to be. not much with goodwill or evil. Now, let's consider a most complicated case, our world of human civilization. We all know that, unfortunately, our world possesses more crisis risk, more blessed, and more paradoxical aporia. Uh, from the alien perspective, our world would be found a non-world of a strange civilization that encourage humans to do more to break the world, even to destroy it when a time is due. It is the fact, not a joke. The alien anthropologists cannot help but coming to the conclusion that human lives in a bad world, full of self-defeating hostilities, yet so fun for humans themselves to call it.
Zhao, your microphone is not.
Okay, no.
Professor Zhao,
Okay.
your microphone is
Now
muted.
it's okay.
Is it okay?
That's
Yes.
okay. No.
Okay. I mean, the Leibniz, the theoretical definition of the best possible world in terms of the possible richest collection of beings. Still, we need a humanized theory of a best possible world on human conditions or limitations. I take the advantage of the beautiful concept of Tianxia, literally all under heaven, to define a compatible human world. Actually, Tianxia was once an event earlier than the theory. It's quite a long story. I will go into it. In 1046 BC, when China was a small-sized world of many cultures and nations, and a small nation, Zhou lead uh, a revolution, destroyed the Shang kingdom, and Zhou was soon confronted with unprecedented problem of governance. How it could lead so many nations of different cultures, while some of them were much larger in population or stronger. The population of Zhou is quite small, less than 70. Any problem? Any
It's
problem?
okay. No,
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's
You can go ahead.
okay.
Okay, it's
Okay, less than 70,000 persons was so small in comparison to many others, especially to some nation of 1 million. Obviously, the natural logic of ruling by power would not work well to deal with the new challenging problem of controlling bigger or stronger powers by a smaller and weaker power. And it is said that the Duke Zhou, a brother of the king, invented the first system of Tianxia to take place of the natural pattern of ruling by force by means of the systematic arrangement that created the common benefits of cooperation more than the exclusive interests of a nation. So much so that every nation, as a member of a Tianxia system, had no more motivation to betray such a nice system. It was the first political invention of a world, that is the regime to make the whole world of a reciprocally dependent network system rather than a dominating empire. Then, in my theory of Tianxia, the world should be a subject rather than an object. The world has been seen and treated as an object to divide, to conquer, to colonize, or to plunder for a long history, and recognized with no respect as an object without objectivity. That is, an object of no identity. Therefore, politically a non-world. I am suggesting a political epistemology to recognize the world otherwise as a political subject of co-subjectivity of all persons, or trans-subjectivity, as my friend Alain Bichon called it. Tianxia could be a way to establish the co-subjectivity of the world by means of a world system to recognize the sovereignty of the world. My reform of the concept of Tianxia is based upon a new definition of the political as an art of changing hostility into hospitality, contrary to its usual concept in terms of struggle for power. Or more interesting, Carl Smith's recognition of enemy of Huntington's class of civilization. It seems that the political science has been misled by the hostile strategies for power. It is true that the struggle for power is the reality of human civilization, but it doesn't mean the political mission is to encourage more hostility. It could be the contrary. I will argue if politics fail to reduce hostility, it is no true politics, because politics will be useless at all if the political arrangement develops nothing to make compatibility of beings. Why should the humans be engaged in the politics for no good? The worst, a waste of time and resources for disaster. Why should we be so stupid to do the politics for no good? Karl von Clausewitz makes a related mistake. He claims war is the continuation of politics. I would rather say war exactly means the failure of impeccable politics. Therefore, I would define the political business as an art of peace. To establish the political as an art of peace, my conception of a new Tianxia system claims three constitutional concepts. The first, internalization of the world, making a world system inclusive of all people, and therefore no more negative externalities. It means everyone aboard a Noah's Ark. The second, relational rationality. It's the rational way to prioritize mutual minimization of hostility above maximization of non-exclusive interest. And the third, the Confucian improvement. It is the non-exclusive improvement for everyone, defined as one is improved if and only if all others are improved. Confucian improvement is more reasonable than the Pareto's improvement because it requires that everyone gets Pareto's improvement if anyone gets it. I think these three concepts would help to change hostility into a hospitality and make a peaceful world. Underlying the political tension as I have introduced, we still need a universal ethical rule to make ethical tension in support of the political. The truly justified ethical rule should be a formula of reciprocal symmetry. Then I think it should be a new golden rule, slightly revised as never do to others whatever others would not like you to do to them, from the traditional one, never do to the others whatever you would like you would not like others to do to you. Very slightly different, but significant, I think. Logically, the perspective of the other mind would make the perfect symmetry in any possible cases, whereas the subjective perspective of the traditional golden rule may make the problems in few cases. Furthermore, a political world will not be working very well unless everyone has the right of cogito. It suggests the epistemological justice to prevent everyone's mind from the knowledge despotism. But it doesn't mean something of knowledge democracy. I'm afraid knowledge is a matter far from democracy. My imagination is about the freedom of cogito. That is, every mind has a right of independence to arrange a world of knowledge on the open digital platform, maybe the so-called metaverse, supported by free AI. Everyone will build a personal Warburg library, meaning that all knowledge will be so organized and arranged according to personal focuses, connected to all resources and information by relevance or links to everyone's focuses. Everyone will establish her knowledge network based upon questions rather than discipline and taxonomy. And every personal library is open to everyone so that everyone could learn from anyone. As expected, everyone will maximize her knowledge and creative thinking. It will make an epistemological tension inclusive of every creative mind. That is the idea for tension so far. So I should stop here. I would like to listen to your comments and your criticism. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, professor Zhao Tingyang. Vou fazer um comentário. Estou sem som? Estou sem som? Alô? Alô? Alô?
Não, aqui está com som.
Tá bom, né? Um comentário rápido em português sobre os próximos passos do debate, porque, por exemplo, eu pensei na professora Su Shen, que não mencionei a universidade dela, porque havia dito que é uma pesquisadora importante, que tem livros importantes, né? Mas ela é professora da Universidade de Shida. Certo? Agora, todo mundo tem acesso ao currículo dela que está aí, mas um dos aspectos mais importantes que eu queria ressaltar é o livro dela, que é China's Cosmopolitanism. Certo? E nesse livro, depois vocês podem ver, nós adquirimos recentemente, né? Taiwan adquiriu. Esse livro, ela estabelece uma interlocução muito próxima, não só nesse livro, como em outros trabalhos, uma interlocução muito próxima com Zhao Tingyang. Então, eu creio que ela é uma pessoa muito, bem indicada para participar de um debate com ele. Então, passo a palavra agora a ela, que vai fazer os comentários à fala do professor Zhao Tingyang, levantar questões. Antes disso, só uma observação. Eu tenho o texto dele em inglês e português. Ele me passou o texto, eu não distribuí o texto, mas tanto a professora Su Shen quanto a professora Robin receberam o texto, e depois eu posso distribuir o texto em inglês e português, porque eu sei que o áudio não ficou tão bom, deu para entender, mas não tão bem, mas nós temos o texto e vamos disponibilizar posteriormente. Tá? Então, por favor, professora Su Shen, faça os comentários ao Zhao.
So please, Professor Zhu Shen, do the commentaries to Professor Zhao.
So I make the commentary 10 minutes and some questions.
10 minutes for commentary and question.
Okay.
Professor Zhao, be ready. She's going to make you question, okay? Are you listening to me, Professor Zhao? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes,
Thank you, thank you.
So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here, and so thank you so much to Professor
Can you
Zhao.
hear
her? Oh, yes.
So thank you so much, Professor Zhao, for the commentary on your work. So, I read the work. I think that maybe a lot of people have read your work here.
I would like to thank you.
So, from your commentary and from just reading your work,
so I just reading your work. And
is everything okay? I can hear it. Oh, okay. Okay. So. Okay, so I have 3 main points which are related that I want to discuss with you. So first of all, you talk about how, from the perspective of an alien, that if they came to Earth, they would see that the humans are not rational because we do not cooperate with each other. We do not work with each other as if with the understanding that we inhabit a world together. And that's very irrational. And so you try to say that the Tianxia system is actually a very rational system. And then you make an example of it through the Zhou dynasty. You say that, look, the system worked very well in the thousands of years ago when everybody understood that they had something to gain through working with each other. And then that's the most kind of rational system because that's empowering for everybody. And you give this description of the 3 aspects of Tianxia, so internalization, co-empowerment, and amelioration, mutual amelioration. So that sounds really rational. But my question to you is, a lot of people, and especially the ones who are destroying the planet, are not rational at all. They're very irrational. So, and I wonder what you would say to those people to convince them of Tianxia. So, to elucidate this point, I want to talk a bit about Nietzsche, because I think his genealogy of morals and his account of ressentiment, the fact that a lot of times humans don't necessarily do things that are for their material or empirical self-interest. They do things that are really, really against their self-interest because that's just the thing about human beings. Nietzsche would describe it as a kind of psychological thing that you satisfy something else within you, this desire for power, this kind of psychological desire for power. And it gives an account of like ressentiment, which Sartre would call bad faith, right? Bad faith. So, and I think that a lot of, if you look at the planet, the people who are destroying the planet, that in some ways are acting in bad faith. But then it's very difficult to talk to people like that. Like, I think your way of describing the world, most Chinese people would kind of be very on board with. It's very intuitive to Chinese people. But how do you talk to people who, for example, are like millenarians, you know, like really kind of radical Christians who believe they're going to save the world by bringing the apocalypse, you know, or people who don't believe in future generations, they don't believe in ancestors, they only believe in themselves. So it's like YOLO, you know, like I maximize my benefit, screw everybody else, I don't care about the future. You know, if these kind of arguments are not going to convince them because they don't care about their benefits beyond their lifetime right now, you know. And just to give another example, there was this recent debate between John Mearsheimer and Jeffrey Sachs that I think a lot of people were watching. And John Mearsheimer was saying that, I understand what you're saying, that, you know, this kind of great power competition, the United States wanting to have hegemony, might lead us to nuclear apocalypse. But he says, I don't think there's any other way, because that's just what humans are like. America wants to be hegemon, and if you're not hegemon, you're just going to be a loser. And then the United States are never going to let themselves become like that. So, you know, that kind of logic is, and then they will not, they just think that anything other than being a hegemon and being to subjugate everybody else is somehow losing, you know? So I'm saying, like, this kind, there are mentalities that you could describe it as irrational, but then this in some ways that you cannot convince that kind of irrationality according to what you describe as a kind of rationality, you know. So when I feel like, how would you try to convince people like that? And people, so let me see my time. I have a bit more time. So with people like that, who really want to insist that there is no other way, that there's just hegemony and possibly nuclear annihilation or nothing else, you know, they'll come up with counter arguments. For example, in the English translation of your book, Odd Arne Howard says, Odd Arne Westard, the Norwegian, I think, sinologist, he said, well, Zhao Tingyang ignores the fact that there are durable traditions of race and colonialism in China. So he's saying your argument doesn't work. You described like Tianxia in the Zhou dynasty. He's saying, well, that was not true, because empirically it was just a Han ethno state, which obviously I don't agree with. But then they'll try to insist that there is what you're describing is impossible, and they'll try to insist that their logic is the only one that is reasonable for human beings, even if it leads to nuclear war, like leads to total annihilation. So again, it's just the question of how do you talk to people who are in some ways irrational and then insist on being irrational. Okay, so my second point to that would kind of be related. You use the term perpetual peace, which I think is a Kantian terminology. But I think for people like Kant in that period, when they were talking about perpetual peace, that would have only been between the European nations. And then he was quite okay with colonialism of the rest of the world. So in some ways, the extraction of the resources of the rest of the world to sustain perpetual peace between a few European nations, that's a very different picture to what you're talking about. And I think that it requires much, much more work for interplanetary peace than any kind of perpetual peace that somebody like Kant was talking about. Because Kant, for example, in his universal history with a cosmopolitan aim, is quite okay with thinking that, okay, there's going to be this kind of colonialism of the world, because that also promotes the world towards final progress hundreds and hundreds of years later. So in some ways, he was quite kind of okay with this very exploitative conflict. So my point is, what you're describing is actually a very much more complicated picture, because it was requiring a peace not sustained by the draining of a lot of resources from other peoples. You know, that's a very different picture of peace. And okay, so I just want to make one final point, which is also related to those 2 previous points. So when you talk about the Zhou dynasty, you say that people were able to kind of cooperate within this system. And I just wonder how strong was the role of the state in that system, because it's very difficult to know for sure how the Zhou dynasty worked, what laws they had, how much bureaucracy there was. But my point was, how important was, it could be argued that the centralized state was already present in the time of the Zhou dynasty. You think of it as something from the Han dynasty onward, but then I've seen sinologists argue that perhaps in the Zhou dynasty, that kind of centralized state was already quite present. So my point then is how important for Tianxia would be some kind of like government structure and then a kind of government power. Okay, so that's my 3 questions. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Xiang. I love your questions, and you are right. Not everyone is rational. Actually, in the reality, everyone is somewhat irrational, as you mentioned Nietzsche and psychology. I should say it's a very funny for our so-called humanities and social sciences. Actually, our social sciences only study what we can understand by rationality, because we have not yet the good methodology to understand the irrationality, and even psychology is not a true science. It's something of still so many things, such pieces, because when you talk about the irrationality and the psychological preferences, we have to discuss the very complicated situation or the structure, as you mentioned, or some phenomena that we have no way to understand it so far. So I don't know if say a century or 2 centuries later, the psychology and our social sciences will become the true science. I'm not so sure, but I admit it's a little bit funny that our so-called knowledge, the knowledge of the human society or of humanity, are only confined to the understanding of the rational behavior, because others beyond that, we have no idea, no convincing principle about it. So that is why we have to talk about rationality. And you are right. People have their very different pursuit and beliefs, faiths, and values, so different from each other. But how could we talk about the society or the world or the system by rational methodology? I have to say, maybe it's disappoint you. It will disappoint you. Yes, everyone has his personal pursuit, and everyone could be very strange. But the society and the world will go on the way mainly on the rationality, in pursuit of fortune, interest. that is why the capitals determine the world as a matter of fact. No matter we dislike it at all, but capital is much more powerful than anything. He will decide the world. So I have to say, I don't like it at all. I hate capital, but it is the truth. Capital is the power, and the capital was run by rationality. And for your second question about Kant, yes, if you could find in my book, I have discussed it in details. The Kantian, as you said, the Kantian piece is limited to the European nations. Actually, it is the idea, the concept for EU. And I made a criticism in my book on the Kantian's limitation. The Kantian piece could not deal with the Huntington's challenge in terms of a class of civilization. That means the Kantian piece is not the piece for the whole world. It's only for a special region. So that is why I said 天下 could be an updated theory for the perpetual peace, because it will be an inclusive system for the world. So 天下 is a way to solve the Huntington's problem. Let me explain, a little more about the rationality. Of course, everyone has his interest and her pursuit. So we disagree each other. Almost everyone disagree with anyone. That is the basic problem for our society, for the world, for everything. If without agreement, we could not do anything. But we disagree. So I think the basic problem is the so-called disagreement. We have to find a solution, and the rationality is the only foundation for agreement. You couldn't establish any agreement upon irrationality or psychology. I don't say rationality is the best thing, but rationality is the only way to solve the problem of disagreement. So we have no other choice. And you mentioned the Zhou dynasty. I don't think the Zhou dynasty is the best. It's not good at all, but it is a genius solution to a special challenge. It is a wonderful case of problem solving. As I just mentioned this very briefly, it is the special problem of how could a smaller nation or a weaker power to control so many other more powerful or stronger nations in a system. So I think the Zhou dynasty, I mean the designation of the governance of the Zhou dynasty is quite skillful. But it's complicated. I don't have time to explain the details, but you could find it in my book. It is, how do I say, a complicated arrangement to make a system in which every nation will be benefited. Therefore, no nation has motivation to betray the system. So I think it's a wonderful system, not very good in to make people happy. It has nothing to do with happiness. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Robbie,
Yeah.
you had 10 minutes to,
Okay.
to comment and
All right.
question.
Got it. Okay. I'm going
10
to.
minutes.
Okay. Okay. My comments mainly is focus on Professor Zhao's presentation here, and he made. So I want to highlight what he's saying about his theory of Tianxia. Then I come in with a question. So mainly, it's focus on his saying. So I think it's very interesting. He made 3 points. First, I think it's very important for everyone to recognize his theory of Tianxia. It's not China's plan. You'll see his word to say. He made a connection between Tianxia theory and Leibniz's possible world. So this is the idea to saying this view, it's not something about China, it's about the world. So this is a very important comment. I think people have been misunderstood his theory in many ways. Second point I think he made, it's very interesting. Tianxia, it's not conceptual theory in one way. It's emerged from event. It's emerged for China's historical facts. That's another word to say. Tianxia, it's not Plato's republic. It's not absolute forms we're all going to pursuing. Something using human mind to impose to the world. He said, no, this is not about that. It's one system, and it's about I think that there is something I really like what he's saying is we want to see how you have one system. I think he used the words he called one system, different civilizations. The idea, Tianxia idea, is inclusive. Use our is a diversity. It's to bring everybody together, and then there is no one. It's not about the domination. It's not about the power struggle. It's not about the control. I think the second point is very important. Third point is saying is the world itself. It's a self-generating agent. Also, he used the words about the term about world is not object, it's a subject. But I will think actually it's saying world is a self like a generating agent. What's that mean? It's saying we cannot think about the world is dividing, conquer, and colonization. That's why he's beginning saying Tianxia theory is stop against imperialism thinking. Because this is, and also how can we change from hostility to to the hospitality. So, and then the one thing I also find is very intriguing is to think about what is a politician? What is politics? Politics is art of peacemaking. It's art of peace. That's very important. Now he was thinking the war is a result of failures of politicians. It's because politicians cannot fulfill their job, their responsibility. That's why lead the world to fight, to conflict, to the war. So one of the things, he also talked about the 3 points, relational rationality, so forth. But I do actually want things. I want to enhance his thought. I think he needed not just the Confucian's views about the coherence. I think he really need to bring Tao. I think he do a Tao. Tao is the idea to allow things to be themselves, right? Then allow things to evolve, and then we have. So we accepting others, okay, otherness of differences, and then also how can we have this transition from conflict, because conflict is inevitable. It's a part of the world, but the solution is a multiple solution. Can we be a peacemaker? And with the Tianxia theory as a background, but learn about the Taoist method, techniques, orientations. So that's okay. So that's the main things I think is very, very important to understand his Tianxia theory. So therefore, we not get into this kind of speculations to think about Tianxia, how Tianxia theory is contemporary political, geopolitical problems. Okay, so that's the part. But I have a question for Professor Zhao. It's related to his last point. I found the last point he make conceptual leaps. In other words, we can see there is a transition from political or maybe even ethical theory of Tianxia to epistemological Tianxia. If we hear that he's presenting by the end, he's saying a solution is freedom of cogito. Cogito, you free our mind. Every citizen should have freedom to gain knowledge, right? To have, and so one of the things he's talk about how knowledge, maximize the knowledge, and knowledge from also from different than democracy. So now come to my question. We live in this technology advanced world. Practically speaking, all of us, most of us have easy access to the knowledge. Maybe you don't call it knowledge, you call it information. At least world in our hand. In here, we can see the world to go into a social media, use AI system. So my question will be, so how actually this Tianxia and the connecting this epistemological Tianxia with AI and the technology development. Another word, do technology actually bring the promise or pro to our Tianxia, the world of to Tianxia theory, right? So one more last sentence is, it's a Tianxia, it's a epistemological Tianxia. If you are continue to develop, construct, then technology, AI, right, a digital world, actually it's a beneficial, effective to attain your freedom of cogito, or bring a danger and the problems for this your epistemological Tianxia, because there is a lot of fake news, okay, delusion and conspiracy theory. Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Professor Wang, for your most challenging and inspiring question about AI. You know, I know many people are worried about AI for its a risky future. But on the contrary, I support AI. And I stand with AI. Let me explain. you know, but I should begin with your how do I say, your discussion about the cogito and the freedom. You know, I think the our modernity of our modern society is misleading us with the empty concept of freedom, equality, individual rights, and you know, many things, and many political correct words, but they miss a key point. It is the freedom of cogito. I think that Descartes has put it at the very beginning of modernity, but later neglected or replaced by the political rights, freedom, liberty, equality, something like that. You know, if Descartes is see the key points. If everyone has not its independent cogito, that means your mind will be controlled or manipulated by many powers or medias or knowledge hegemony. So actually, you will not think for yourself. You will not speak for yourself. You just copy or follow the ideologies or the popular values, which may not be good for you. Maybe they are leading you to some mistakes and failures, and you lost your independence of your mind. So that is why I said a Tianxia system will build a epistemological system for sake of everyone's freedom in cogito. Of course, I believe it should be supported by AI. Otherwise, we could not make what I said in my paper, the Warburg library for everyone to have a Warburg library. You know, it's no one could do it itself. It should be supported by the internet, especially by the support from AI. Then I will explain a little bit about the AI. You know, I think for the future, if we should have AI, and the future of AI, if it will be a problem, it is the problem of a human being, not AI, because it is a human being who has the inclination to do the evil things, and the AI is guilty of nothing. Why? Let me explain. I think, you know, AI is born to be selfless, because you know, it is a machine. It is an AI has no genes of selfishness. So that means AI lacks our desires and motivations. In no need of wealth, sexual resources, honor, and social status. therefore, AI will be free from jealousy, hatred, and passion. Therefore, AI has no criminal motivation. It is peaceful by nature, by its gene. Maybe I should say by its mechanics. So there, what I mean is AI itself is safe, quite safe to human. The only thing he needs is the energy to support it. And he needs nothing more. So I think if unless the humans go mad to ask it to commit crimes, otherwise AI will be of all uses. It will help people, and about the so-called everyone's Warburg library for everyone's knowledge, to build everyone a world of knowledge. I think it is something about something like a spider network. A spider network instead of a tree structure. You know, in our concept of knowledge, the knowledge has been organized in a tree structure by means of taxonomy and classification in the Aristotle's way. So it's a Aristotle structure of everything as a nuance. So our knowledge is limited to the knowledge of nuance, but as you know it, now the problem is what we are yet to know is the emergences of things. We know the things, the name of the things, but it doesn't work. All the problem goes to the emergence of the process. We don't know what will happen if we don't understand the emergence. We will have no prediction of the good prediction of the future. So I'm quite skeptical to our popular concept of knowledge based upon the Aristotle system in nuance and or our logic in nuance. So I imagine a new logic, a logic of verbs, or the verb thinking, to to see the connection between a change, between changes. I'm sorry, it's so complicated to explain, so I let it. At work instead of a tree structure, and that is something like
Professor Val, Professor Zhang, you have to come back. It is just jammed here. You have to go back a little bit, like perhaps like 3 minutes ago in your speech, because we didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry.
When you are talking about the logics, we were talking about the logics.
Okay, I mean, our established knowledge system is based upon the Aristotle's classification or taxonomy, and the way we think in logic is also the logic of knowance, because the knowance are the subject, and everything is about the subject. About the knowance. And so we pursue the definitions as if we know something when we have a definition of something. I think it is an illusion. Even we have a perfect definition of something, actually we couldn't predict the future of this thing. We don't know what will happen. So I think a true knowledge is a knowledge to predict. So that is why I think we should develop the knowledge system about to explain the emergence of changes. That means we have to change from our knowance thinking to verb thinking, from the logic of knowing to the logic of verbs. So I think AI will could help it. Not now. You know, the popular AI we have now, something like ChatGPT, has its methodology of Bayesian methods, but it is only about the prediction of the next token. But the point is, all the tokens it is the knowance. So I think that it's quite limited now. If we can develop a logic of verbs and let the AI to learn it, I think AI will be much more smarter and of greater help to human beings. Anyway, I have to answer Professor Wang. I stand with AI. I'm not stand with a human being. Thank you very much.
Bom, agora nós temos ainda um tempo. A gente pode pensar em 15 minutos para perguntas, 15 a 20 minutos. Né? O nosso atraso inicial ele está sendo compensado pelo avanço do tempo dessa mesa. Né? Então, está aberto a questões. Eu peço, quem quer falar, quem quiser fazer perguntas, que faça pelo microfone. E duas coisas. Pode ser feito diretamente em inglês, ou se fizer em português, o Plínio traduz diretamente para o Zhao. Patrícia, por favor.
Thank you, Professor Zhao. I really loved the presentation. I was wondering, because you mentioned capital, and my research is focused on neoliberalism, and I know it corrodes not only the economical systems, but also politics, diplomacy, religions, everything. And it's based on the destruction of the sense of belonging to a collectivity. So you're separated, segregated, and excluded. So my question is, how does the Tianxia ethical system ground itself? Like, because neoliberalism thrives in destroying the dignity, not only the dignity of human beings, but also sentient beings and nature. So this is why, is there a source of Ruleizang or anything like that in the Tianxia ethical system that puts everything together, like nature, beings, and everything? Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your wonderful question. Actually, Professor Wang, Robin Wang, has mentioned the Taoism. Is that right? I think he's right. Actually, my theory of Tianxia is more based on Taoism rather than Confucianism. Actually, not much relation with the Confucian. And the Taoism is a theory not only for human beings, it's also for nature, for all kinds of creatures, all forms of lives. So I think I have to say my theory of Tianxia is now only concerning the political affairs, but it could be extended to the nature and the other all kinds of animals, all kinds of forms of life, all creatures. So it will be a more complicated Tianxia. It could be possible. I think it awaits your. I have not yet studied the whole system of all kinds of life. But you are right. It should be done. So I will appreciate your imagination of that. Thank you.
Okay.
No sound?
Temos mais alguma questão?
Is there any other
No
question?
sound.
Português? Isso.
Can you hear me?
Aí você traduz, Plínio. Ele vai fazer questão em
português.
português.
Professor, mas eu acho que ele não está ouvindo.
Hã?
Eu acho que ele não está ouvindo. Ele não está ouvindo.
Ele vai te ouvir agora. A gente liga o som
agora
para ele.
Então, can you hear me, Professor Zhao?
Oh, yes.
So,
Good.
that's it. Let's go again for another question.
Houve uma discussão sobre...
There was a discussion
sobre
about artificial intelligence. I would like to deepen this discussion.
Trabalha com a IA como uma...
You work with artificial intelligence with an optimistic point of view.
Pensando como uma ferramenta útil.
And you think that like a very useful tool. And you talk about the logical utility.
Uma vez que é uma ferramenta sem alma, sem coração.
Since it's without soul, is a tool without soul, without heart. So this is my concern.
Essas necessidades.
It's a necessity. Connect with the human beings.
Embora gerem problemas e conflitos.
This necessity of human beings generate conflict.
Nos produz cultura e, enfim.
And the problems connect with the cultures and so forth.
Você continua
and you
sobre as suas preocupações.
Talk about your concerns.
Uma vez que
o
sistema
decide
o uso da
decides the use of the artificial intelligence as a tool.
Eu sou de ponto de vista de que
my point of view is that the technology and the tools
uso como vontade própria, não é?
Has an use on its own.
Você não pode utilizar uma ferramenta.
You cannot use the tool
da maneira como você
in the way you like.
Ela tem
it has
criação dela, da
its
ferramenta,
own creation,
limita.
and its creation is limited, is contingent to its own use, and is contingent to its use.
Pelo menos aqui no Ocidente, as pessoas ligadas à
at least here in the
criação dessas
West,
tecnologias
the people connected with the creation of these technologies
têm pontos de vista
has
muito específicos.
specific point of views
Eu poderia chamar eles de tecnocratas.
that we may say technocratic ones.
Eles, assim como o sistema, decidirão
They, as the system
formação
does,
dessa
will
tecnologia.
decide the formation
E,
of these
portanto, a
tools.
tecnologia ela terá os usos limitados.
And therefore, the
que
technology has its
os produtos
limited
dessas pessoas
use connected to the
permitirem.
product
A internet, por exemplo,
of
ela
what
tem
the
esses
people
usos
allow us to do.
restritos.
For example, the
Mesmo que
internet
nós
has its
consigamos
restricted use,
quase que roubar para nós
and we have to almost
o
steal for
uso
us
de uma tecnologia informacial
the use of the technology
para bons usos, para
to put it in the good
transmissões
use and to have conditions
conhecimento,
of knowledge,
o uso que
and the
as
use
empresas que mantêm
of
e
the
constroem
companies that
essas
build
tecnologias são muito
or
diferentes.
construct these technologies are very different.
Então, uma vez pensando no sistema, pensando nas
So
pessoas
thinking about this system, thinking about the
que
people
criarão essa tecnologia,
that will create this technology,
eu não consigo ver
I
tão
cannot
bem
see very well
a boa vontade
the goodwill
que você expressa no seu
that you
pensamento. Eu queria que você
expressed.
expandisse um pouquinho sobre isso.
And I would like to hear more about that. I would like to further a little bit about that, a further explanation about that. So that's it. That's his question.
Hello? No sound. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Do hear you.
Okay. No, it's good. I'm sorry. I don't think I have get the point correctly, but yeah, but I think it is related to the how do I say, the ethics or the morality of trans-species of AI. Is that right? I insisted that it is a human who do the evil thing. The AI is only the tool, as the gentleman says, and of course it could be used to make the disasters, but it is the human to blame. I don't think it is AI to blame. As I argued, AI is naturally born to be selfless. It has no criminal motivation. He needs no money. He needs no owner. He needs he's not jealous of everything. So I think it should be ethics to control human beings the use of the AI, but it is not ethics for AI. It's ethics for human being. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, one question, and then we can close. Okay.
Very quickly, Professor Zhao, thank you very much. Oh, come over there. Yes, so that I can see. Yes. Yes. Hello. Yes?
Hello?
Hello, Professor Zhao. Thank you. Very quickly on this discussion, because it's a very pertinent discussion, right? On AI. The question is about whether it is a tool and about whether there is some agency, right, there. And actually, this is a big question. And I think it is maybe a little bit simplistic to just dub it a tool and to leave all agency up to the humans. Because, I mean, also recently, I'm sure you have witnessed, right, how people who are developing these technologies and who actually have the cogito of this area, which we don't, right? This is also very important. We don't have the knowledge about how these technologies are developed. So people who are in this development are actually leaving the industry. I'm sure you have seen recently, very important people are leaving their companies. Why? Because they are concerned. They are neither optimists nor doomists, right? But they're just concerned about how this technology will actually develop in ways which already now they cannot predict and they do not know. They say it, right? The specialists themselves say it. We do not know how this happens. There is a part which is unknowable, even to them. And actually, there is also the prospect of general artificial intelligence, the prospect of human intelligence and artificial intelligence somehow uniting, right? This is, of course, a very distant prospect, but it is there, right? So you have this problem of whether it is a tool and whether there is some agency, which is not very easy to tackle by just saying it's a tool, right? It's more than a tool, or it's developing into something more than a tool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, and I love your question. I love your idea about AI. Let me say, I think AI will be a real subjectivity in the future. I believe that, but not yet now. You know, AI could.
I know. Yes. Bring them to us, but then also taking them away from us.
Okay.
Professor Zhao, you have to come back to when you said that the artificial intelligence is going to be a subject. You have to go back and start again.
Okay. I mean, I believe AI will be a true subjectivity in the future, but not yet now. It is still far from that. You know, as we observed, AI sometimes say something very strange. Even we call it nonsense, strange answers to humans' question. And maybe he will even do something strange. But I don't think it is the something of the free will. It is nothing to do with free will. It's the mistakes. You know, it's some malfunction. It indicates nothing of its subjectivity. Let me explain. So far as we know about AI, something of ChatGPT or Sora or something like this, you know, the AI models adopts the empirical approach. I mean, the IQ of AI by now is limited to the empirical approach. Basically, the Bayesian methodology. But I don't know why it could sometimes make a strange mistake. I have no idea about it, but I know it's limited mainly in the Bayesian methodology. It is good at making the best prediction of the next token by the dominating relevance. But it has still the key limitations includes at least the three things so far as I said. The first limitation is the AI play with the tokens. That means the world of AI is a world of tokens and nothing more. I should say it is genius for the scientists to apply the empirical method to the non-empirical tokens. It is a genius, but it makes the limitation that AI understand the token instead of language. Something like someone could stand out the code correctly, but no idea about the codes, because he has no code book at his hand. I think it's similar to AI. AI could play correctly with the tokens by relevance, but it doesn't know the meanings behind the tokens in language. So AI does not understand the language, so that it
Professor Zhao, the microphone. You have to turn on the microphone. The microphone is off.
Okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Now it's okay. Now it's okay. It's okay now.
That's okay.
Okay. So maybe okay. That is the first limitation for AI. AI understand the tokens. It say, do you hear me? Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Okay. So AI understand tokens instead of language or things. That's the limitation. That means he will not understand the concept, which is essential to our thinking, to be a mind. And the second limitation of AI, I should say it fails to understand the logic and mathematics by now. Because the AI's methodology is now confined to the Bayesian methodology. It is empirical, not the methodology a priori. So that is why AI doesn't understand logic and mathematics. And the problem is we don't know how could we teach AI or feed it the logic of mathematics. It seems that we don't have such a good way now. Maybe in the future, the scientists could make it. And the third weakness of AI, I think it is the lack of the understanding of causality.
So, depois eu falo.
Is it okay? Is it okay?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. If lack of the conception of causality, AI will not understand any science.
Professor, again, the microphone. Okay, it's back. It's back.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay.
So I mean, what I mean is the understanding.
A mensagem de detecção automática. A gente tem na viagem, a gente tem no aniversário, a gente tem todos para música.
Is it okay? Okay now?
Mas não é comigo não, isso
Não,
aí.
It's okay. Não, it's okay.
Não, tá a gente olhando para mim aqui.
Okay. I mean the understanding of the causality is necessary for AI to understand science, but now AI know nothing about causality. That is why I try to introduce the concept of the logic of verbs for AI. I think the logic of what we have now is the Aristotle tradition, and even the modern logic it goes on the same way in terms of the logic of knowledge. So it could explain the connections between knowledge, but it fails to explain a change from a change to another change, what we call the emergence. So that is my ambition to how do I say, to imagine a logic of verbs, and it will help the AI to understand the causality. Then, because from a change to a change, if AI could understand that, it will see what the human call the causality. If AI could make it, it will have the true knowledge of science. Then AI will be likely to become a subjectivity. But before that, I mean, before we solve the three problems, AI will not be a subjectivity. It has no free will by now. But so that is my understanding about AI. I hope it is right. I'm not so sure. Maybe we should ask the scientist.
Okay. Professor Zhao Tingyang, thank you very much for your interesting speak. And I hope in next year you come in person to Brazil for next year. Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Professor Suen and Professor Wang. And thank you very much. Não estava previsto uma pausa para agora, mas nós vamos fazer uma pausa de 5 minutos para resolver um problema técnico que a gente continua tendo, né? Principalmente para mudar do Zoom para o Meet, que é a nossa plataforma de trabalho, né? Então, mais uma vez, a gente pede desculpas aí por esses transtornos todos, porque não estava assim, previsto fazer uma transmissão com o Zoom, mas nós tentamos, não foi tão problemático, mas tivemos alguns percalços. Só mais um comentário, certo? Nós vamos tentar posteriormente, vou ver se é possível, transcrever esse debate, né? Transcrever o debate, devolver os debates, as falas para as pessoas, entende? Nós vamos tentar transcrever o debate, repassar de volta para eles, para ver se tem alguma correção, algum acerto e disponibilizar posteriormente. Entende? Essa é uma ideia, eu pretendo ver com eles se isso vai ser possível. Né? Então, 5 minutos, nós não temos nem café, nem chá nesse momento, estava previsto somente para tarde, mas temos que fazer essa pausa de emergência para resolver os problemas técnicos e depois voltamos já com a conferência do André Bueno logo na sequência. Gente, realmente 5 minutinhos, tá bom? Então, até mais. Podemos. Nós não vamos sair.